Hey everyone, Crazio here with some more Starcraft 2 Heart of the Swarm. This time I will not be showing you guys a 2 versus 2 with me playing with Fragile. Instead, someone asked me if I could cast their gameplays. It seems to be a 1 versus 1. We actually expected a 2 versus 2. But hell, 1 versus 1 might be fun as well. I'm accompanied by Fragile, so say hi to the audience.
Hello everyone, my name is Fragile. Been playing 2 vs 2 with Crazio, and we've been getting comments lately from this player, what's his name again, GnarWallMan, that we are rushing too much in 2 vs 2. So we said to him, well, send us no, he was telling us.
Yeah, he asked us if he could cast or critique his gameplays because he wanted to learn. He actually said that we rushed too much and that we didn't play the game accordingly. But in 2 versus 2, at least in Gold League, things work differently than in 1 versus 1s. So yeah, I understand his point, but the game is also meant to have an early game, a very early game, a mid game, and a late game. And that's what we will basically do. So, to get back into this replay, in the top left corner we have the green player, I am USA GnarWallMan. He's the guy who requested this commentating. And in the bottom right corner, the blue Protoss, it is I am USA TossBoss. So
the first thing I want to comment is, if you're gonna make an expansion, GnarWallMan, don't use a drone with minerals on it.
Yeah, that's a waste of 5 good minerals, but hey, that's the details. And the probe scout is already out. He saw the timing, or actually didn't see the timing on the spawning pool. He did see, however, that it wasn't there or didn't got deployed before the 2-minute 30 mark. So that tells him a lot. You could TossBoss could actually choose to wait with the cybernetics core and go for an early nexus instead. But what we are seeing now is actually a quite standard Protoss opening. With one zealot on the way.
This really bugs me. I mean, come on, TossBoss, why are you scouting and not check if when the spawning pool is actually being deployed or being built? That's just ridiculous.
Yeah, it's quite true. If you know the timing of the spawning pool, you could also choose for some early harassment as a Protoss. Something very popular and something I do myself in the 1 versus 1s as a Protoss versus a Zerg is to rush 2 zealots to the expansion and let it be accompanied by a mothership core. This does mean that you need an earlier gas than most Protoss players do. This also means that you have to build your cybernetics core at, I think, the 14 supply or something. And that you have to wait with the nexus. That will be delayed with about, I think, 1 minute. So that's not that much of a cost. But with 1 or with 2 zealots and the mothership core, you can easily take out a queen, a couple of drones, and the zealots he will be throwing at you. So that's one advice if you want to keep pressure on a Zerg who fast expands, as most Zergs do.
Like I do. I really like to not rush, but keep pressure on the enemy.
Yeah, that's something you actually have to do as a Zerg. You have very agile units, especially with what are called speedlings. You can do hit and run, scout, etc., etc. So that's what you actually have to do in the early games as a Zerg. You actually saw here 1 Zerglings getting pwned by the Zealot. Good waste of 25 minerals in my opinion, but hey, Zerglings are cheap. Most Zergs have a lot of income anyway, so who cares. More Zerglings are on the way, so we will be seeing some early pressure from GnarWallMan. And speed is up for the Zerglings. So let's see if we can do something nice with it. We also see a sentry up, so force fields should be able to keep the Zerglings at bay. However, no force field play there. and he uses the Guardian Shield. Guardian Shield only reduces ranged damage, and Zerglings do not spit stuff like the Hydralisks. And a bit of a miss micro here. Mothership Core not doing anything for a couple of minutes there, a couple of seconds I should say. Zealot is bashing on these Zerglings. A lot of Zerglings lost. It's a waste of good money there in my opinion. They should have stopped attacking the next and attacked that single Zealot that was out there for a couple of seconds. Could have taken him down, and that would leave GnarWallMan.
Yeah, TossBoss had no any defense, only that half-life sentry, and that was it. You could have won the game just if you just concentrate on what's the most important buildings.
Yep, and note that a Mothership Core is okay for defense, but it only does 8 damage, and a Zergling has 35 damage, so it will cost like, well, you do the math, 5 shots before a Zergling dies from a Mothership Core. And something that most Zerg players also forget is that versus a Protoss, or let's say in a Zerg versus Protoss matchup, the Protoss has to, how do you call it, has to determine the pace. He, as a Protoss, actually has to be more aggressive than a Zerg player. Why is this? Because with all the creep spread, which is just getting on the go now by GnarWallMan, with a lot of, eventually you will have too many drones. You can build static defenses. What's very effective is the swarm host versus Protoss. Basically all ground units are quite shit versus the swarm host. The only thing you have to scout for as a Zerg is if the Protoss will be going air. You will be seeing a nice drop, a War Prison drop from the Protoss player. Doing okay damage, killing the queen, killed a couple of drones, taking out the spawning pool, a couple of Zerglings able to prevent. And
GnarWallMan, if you're gonna pull all your drones away, like everything from your main base, put them in the middle line of your expansion, but not. They're just idling now, and you're not making any money at this point.
Yep. As you can see, your third or your second expansion has 19 of the 24 spots for workers. There's actually one extractor doing nothing. So yeah, you could have gotten a bit more income. Your third base actually had only 13 workers on it. So you could have, yeah, done some better stuff with these drones.
Way better stuff. They're still idling.
Yep,
what the hell?
Well, yes, you could do work on your micro a bit. And War Prison play by TossBoss. I don't think that's the best thing you could have done. You could have dropped some units in the first expansion, first natural, and a couple in the second. And with the units you have in the War Prison, I believe 3 Stalks and then Zerg. No, not a Zerg. A Zealot. You could also take out this Queen, and the units of GnarWallMan were actually quite off. So you could have done some more damage there if you continue to pressure a bit more. Anyway, the thing I do like about GnarWallMan is the placement of the buildings. He actually has the Roachborn and the Hydralisk Den at the first natural. That's okay play because of the drops, because of air, etc, etc, giving you a better position to defend these important buildings.
What also amazes me is TossBoss has a observer, but he doesn't do anything with it.
Yeah.
What's the point of having an observer?
Yeah, it's very important as a Protoss player, or actually as every player, as every race, to know what your enemy is doing. So in the last encounter or the last poke, GnarWallMan saw a lot of Colossi, or at least he saw some Immortals. Colossi are not yet on the way, I believe. The robotics bay is already out, so with his setup, Hydralisks and Roaches, you can expect lots and lots of Colossi or either Stormplars. So what does it tell you as a Zerg? It tells you that your ground units, your roaches and your hydralisk, will not do all that much. They will get burned quite fast by the colossi. That's, I think, common knowledge. So what else can you do? You can either go for brood lords, which will take a lot of time, or you can go for swarm host. As TossBoss is playing, yes, he's harassing a couple of war prisms. Yes, he's trying to do some damage with it. However, his main army is not doing that much. It's just like defensive play by TossBoss. So what can you do as a Zerg? At the 40-minute mark, you could already have, well, I think about 5 or 6 swarm hosts. And swarm host on this map is quite good.
Oh my god, your drones are still idling. What the hell?
Yeah, that's something you have to work on. Better map management. Or micromanagement, actually.
There's a drone inactivity indicator on your left side of your interface. Look at that once in a while.
Yeah, you actually have too many probes or drones if you actually would put these guys to work. But hey, it's Gold League, so you're still allowed to learn, as all players.
21 drones inactive.
Yeah, that's quite a lot. So thermal lance is on the way for the colossi. When that will be done, the Zerg army will have no chance, at least not with this amount. I actually think that with this army, the Zerglings, the hydralisk, the roaches, he could have broken the army before any colossi were out. And the thing I do like is that he is using a 4th expansion. He could have had a 5th or a 6th already, because Protoss boss is not doing all that much. Yes, he's flying around with his war prism a bit, but hey, he doesn't do all that much with it.
And I don't know if you're taking this game seriously, but you had the speed increase of your overlords at the very beginning, but you didn't like scout the Protoss base.
Nope. It's very important to spot how many warp gates he has, how many robotics facilities. What it tells you is if the Protoss player is overcommitting to robo. If he does, you do know that you have to go for swarm host. As I mentioned before, swarm hosts are, well, I think you could say overpowered versus this setup. Stalkers, zealots, colossi, I believe some immortals are there as well, or they might be in the war prism. Anyway, swarm hosts are OP versus Protoss in that matter. The only thing Protoss can do versus a lot of swarm hosts is build air. What your Zerg have versus air, hydralisk. Hydralisk can very well versus void rays. And what do Zerg have versus if he goes for, what are they called? The carriers. You have corruptors doing extra damage versus massive units. Another thing that's worth mentioning is the resources. GnarWallMan has like 4,000 minerals, almost 5, 1,600 gas, 200 supply. I mean, throw away your units. Your Zerg, you can replenish your army like on the go. At least if you keep your larva up, okay. So you can just yeah, feed the bees to the nuclear,
Yeah, do something with it. And if you don't want to attack, just build more what's that thing called?
Static defenses.
More static defenses, everything. Just build more buildings. Especially hatcheries. Hatcheries are very important for the Zerg. With more hatcheries, you can build 200 units like in an instant with it. Especially with your money.
And we have here a big clash in the middle of the map. You saw that the Colossi actually burned away all the units of GnarWallMan. He's just saying the name wrong all the time.
And also, if you see that he was going Colossus, just act with swarm hosts, or with vipers, or with air.
Yeah, in my opinion, vipers is not the correct choice here. Yes, he has stalkers, so corruptors might get challenged. But you had a quite big ground army, so in my opinion, your choice of units is quite bad if you can do that the whole game. As a Zerg, you can put some more pressure on it, especially with gathering resources. Protoss actually does a better job by keeping resources okay low. But as a Zerg, topping it off at like 5k minerals, no, that's not done. If you have 5k minerals, you didn't sacrifice enough units to the meat grinder of the Protoss.
And the weakest thing of the Zerg is going a 1-to-1 battle with the Protoss or Terran, you will lose. You always have to scatter around and attack from the sides, because that's your biggest strength, in my opinion.
Like I said before, you have agile units, so use them. Anyway, this game's almost at its end. If you take a quick recap of the game, I believe we can all agree on that the Protoss did an okay job. However, as Protoss, it's not wise to put it in the third. Luckily for TossBoss, GnarWallMan decided to actually wall in, as his name actually says. So there was not that much pressure for TossBoss to do whatever he wanted. He stick to the plan of roaches, hydralisks, and Zerglings.
Oh, got some Vipers now.
Yeah, he has Vipers, which not doing anything. Actually, smoke is okay for using versus Protoss as well. It limits the range of the Protoss, all the units. And what I wanted to say was, if you see robos, you see 4 robos here. Yeah, mid-game sacrifice a couple of overlords to scout the enemy base. It gives you intel. At some point, I don't know which minute mark it was, there were these 2 robos up and eventually Robo Bay. It will tell you that he will go Immortals, Colossi, and how should a Zerg respond? Swarm host. That's the key thing in this matchup, I believe.
Yeah, knowledge is power, and also having the knowledge to react if you see something.
Yeah, big difference here was that TossBoss actually used his War Prism to harass, but also to scout. Maybe that was an accident, maybe he didn't plan to actually scout with the War Prism, but he did. Why? Because he wanted to burn down some buildings, and it gives you intel. And with that intel you can do lots of funny things, like build the right counter versus the units you face. Anyway, GnarWallMan asked us to cast 5 games, best out of 5, and that is what we will do. This is the first game, and eventually we will probably cast the other 4 games as well. So stay tuned, more games will follow. And any last remarks from Fredjo?
I'm looking forward to his last 4 games.
Yeah, me too.
I hope there's one 2 versus 2 game in it, because that's the
thing we do.
That's our specialty.
Yes, that's our specialty. Anyway, good play by TossBoss, some bad micro by GnarWallMan, and some bad unit choice. But hey, you're in Gold League, there's a lot of room for improvement. That's why you sent this replay to me. I hope you actually will learn something from this. At least that's the whole idea. Yeah, that's all for today. I hope you enjoyed it, and until the second part of this video, I guess.
Yeah. See you next time.
Bye bye.